What's up, everyone? And today I'm bringing a deck profile on my S-Force deck. Now, S-Force is a deck that came out of a Blazing Vortex, and honestly, I'd probably say it's the best deck to come out of Blazing Vortex, which doesn't really say much because most of the others just weren't that great. Look at Warrock. This one's actually not too bad of a deck. It's been a while since I've seen a deck where the zones actually matter, kind of like in Mech Knights, for example. Without further ado, let's get right into the deck profile. First, I run the 3 S-Force Aura Fist. Aura Fist, your opponent cannot target any of their monsters in the same column as one of your S-Force monsters with card effects. And when a monster your opponent controls activates its quick effect, you can banish one S-Force card from your hand and destroy that monster. So this one's pretty good. It can disrupt during your opponent's turn by destroying a monster, although you do have to banish one S-Force card from your hand. So if you don't have an S-Force in your hand, it won't really matter all that much. Next, I run 3 S4 Rappa Chiyomaru. Chiyomaru has a quick effect. You can banish one S-Force card from your hand, return this card to the hand, and if you do, special summon one S-Force monster from your deck in defense position. So same like with the Orappa or Orfist, to where you banish one S-Force from your hand to activate its effect. I know you're thinking, why would I want to banish cards from my hand? Well, there's actually an S-Force monster that can bring them back. I also run the 1 S-Force Professor D Gamma. If your opponent's monster is in the same column as one of your S-Force monsters, cannot change its battle position, and if this card is from or special summoned, you target one face-up monster your opponent controls change its battle position. So it's kind of like a Book of Moon, but just changes the position and doesn't turn it face down. I'd say that's definitely the weakest S-Force monster. That's why I only run the 1. I also run the 3 S-Force Gravitino. Gravitino, each of your opponent's monsters in the same column as one of your S-Force monsters is banished. Is banished when it leaves the field. So like to say it, your opponent summons a monster and then links it, and if the monster they summon was in the same zone, you can banish it. So that's pretty good. And if this card is normal special summon, you can add one S-Force card from your deck to your hand. So it's a searcher alongside Orphis. No, the Chiyomaru is the one that special summons while Gravitino searches. I also run the 3 S-Force Platina. Each of your opponent's monsters in the same column as one of your S-Force monsters loses 600 attack. And if this card is normal or special summoned, you can target one of your banished S-Force monsters, special summon it. So the Platina is the one that kind of like helps with the cost of banishing, because let's say you banish Gravitino to activate the effect of Orfist, you can special summon Platina to special summon Gravitino back from your banished. So the cost is almost kind of negated in a way. Also run the 1 Chaos Daedalus, since this is a light and dark deck, as well as the 1 Chaos Dragon Legionnaire. I run 3 Ash for the hand trap. Moving on to the spells. I run 3 S-Force Bridgehead. When this card is activated, you can add 1 S-Force monster from your deck to your hand, so it searches like a Gravitino. And when a opponent's monster declares an attack on your S-Force monster in the same column, you can activate this effect. That monster you control cannot be destroyed by battle or card effect. And so it's a bit of a protection as well as being a searcher, which is pretty good. 6 actually pretty consistent. I also run the 1 Terraforming along with it. I also run 3 S-Force Showdown. S-Force Showdown you can special summon 1 S-Force monster from your hand in defense position, or target one of your S-Force monsters in the graveyard, add it to your hand. So it's really good getting those higher level S-Force to the field. I also run the 3 Psychic Eraser Laser. Psychic Eraser Laser, you can send 1 monster in your opponent's column that was special summoned from the extra deck to the grave, and then they gain life points equal to the attack or defense of the other return monster. So it's a bit of like a disruption. Also run 1 Chaos Space, or not 1, 2 Chaos Space. I also run 3 Pot of Prosperity because honestly, you don't really use the extra deck a whole lot because you want the S-Force monsters on the field, not the extra deck monsters. Although it does have 1 extra deck monster. I also run the 1 Dimensional Fissure to banish cards when they're sent to the graveyard. Or I guess this one's any monster sent to the graveyard is banished. So it really helps with like kind of disrupting your opponent. I also run the 1 Monster Reborn, the 1 Rhoda to round up the spells. Moving on to the traps. First, I run 2 There Can Be Only One. With the S-Force monsters, pretty much all of them are different types from each other, like 1 Psychic, 1 Cyberse, you got a Spellcaster, and a Warrior. So, and you don't really want multiple copies of the same card on the field. You want like 1 of each, kind of. Or at least like 1 Chiyomaru, 1 Platina, 1 Orphis, maybe 1 Gravitino. Something like that. So you can run something like There Can Be Only One, and that can really hurt your opponent. Next, I run 2 S-Force Specimen. S-Force Specimen, when it's in the, essentially a monster reborn during your opponent's turn. except you can use a special summon a monster from your grave or banished. And this can actually take one of your S-Force monsters and move it to a different zone. Kind of like the World Legacy Guard Dragon. Moving on to the extra deck. I run 3 S-Force Justify. This is a Link 3. You cannot special summon set monsters as zone this card points to. Quick effect, you target one face-up effect monster your opponent controls, negate its effects until the end of this turn. So this one's pretty good. I'd say the Link monster, the S-Force Justify is the only extra deck monster you even want to use. And then you can move that opponent's monster to their monster zone this card points to. And if this card attacks, you can banish all monsters this card points to. So this card is really good. Not only does it negate the effect of all, not only does it essentially shut off 3 zones, it also can negate opponent's monster effects and banish cards too. It's really good. So I definitely say, like, after like when I was like putting this deck in practice, I can definitely see that this deck does have potential. Could it be a rogue deck? Honestly, it could be. Although I'd say the one downside to this deck right now is that right now we're kind of in more of a control format. And I say this deck would probably fare better in like maybe a combo-oriented format. Next, I run the one Isolde, as well as the one Barricadeborg Balker. I also run the one IP, Unicorn, Cerberus, and Phoenix. I also run 2 Borrelsword Dragon, an Access Code, an Appaloosa, an Underworld Goddess, and an Abyss Dweller. Honestly, after the S-Force Justify, it doesn't really matter what you run in the extra deck because the S-Force Justify cards are actually pretty good, and I'd mainly just focus on that alone. Like, you don't really need Appaloosa or Borrelsword. They're just good extra deck cards to have, as well as being prosperity targets. That's all for the deck profile. Let me know, what do you think? Do you think S-Force could be a potential meta deck? Or do you think it's just a decent deck? Let me know in the comments, and I'll see you in the next video I make. Bye.